Hey everyone, welcome to my video. It's Patty from PS Paper Crafts, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm going to show you how to make this card using Stampin' Up! Products. This is the Timeless Tropical Bundle. You can get the stamp set or the In the Tropics dies separately, or if you bundle them together you save 10%. And they have some really great, I love the palm trees here and that little pineapple. And then the dies you can actually make a pineapple with, and I'm using this to make the background leaves with. I thought that was a good idea. So a lot of my pieces I've cut out already, some of the leaves and stuff, but I do have to stamp and cut out this flower, and then we're going to emboss that layer with the 3D Coastal Weave embossing folder. So let's start out with our flower. So I'm just going to take a scrap of Whisper White and I'm going to stamp it in black memento, and then I'll color it with a Stampin' Blend. I'm using Daffodil Delight for this color. I think this would be a great card for a guy. You can make it pink if you want to make it for a lady. So I'm going to use the light Daffodil Delight blend, and then I'll add a little bit of dark to it, and then we'll cut it out. Okay, so I colored it with the light. I added some dark in the middle and then pulled it out with the light to kind of blend it together. So let me get my my big shot. Just put those aside. And let's just cut this flower out and then we'll do the embossing. So I have my 2 plates here. They're getting pretty beat up. And let me get my die. And with this die, the flower die, you have to make sure you have it going the right way. So, well, first of all, you have to have it cutting down. So you'll see it doesn't quite fit. There will be a perfect fit. So that one is it. So just keep spinning it around until it's a perfect fit. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay my top plate over. And I hold it to squeeze it and just run it through. Okay, so I just pop that out and I've got my yellow flower. Put that aside. So I'm going to take my thin die adapter and that plate off, and we are going to take the white layer, the Whisper White layer, and we're going to emboss it. And I use the new plate. People call it the blue plate. I think some people even call it the purple plate. I'm using the Coastal Weave 3D embossing folder, and if you're using a 3D embossing folder, it's good to have this plate. You can make your sandwich, you know, add cardstock, remove cardstock, whatever, to try to get your sandwich good, but this is a perfect fit, so it just makes it easier. To me, it's worth it. So you're just going to go through. I only go through once. Some people go back and forth 2, 3, 4 times, but I think once is plenty. Get rid of this. And then when we open it up, isn't that beautiful? I love that. And you can do this side as well, embossed or debossed. Okay, and then I have all my other pieces all cut out already. And I made this card so that it opens this way. It's called a top folding. That's my inside piece, but I like to sometimes make my horizontal card go like this. Sometimes if you have it open this way, it just kind of opens and falls. This seems more sturdy when you're giving it to someone. So anyway, let's get our pieces together. And actually, one more thing I want to do. Let me get a piece of scrap paper. I'm just going to add a little bit of color, Pretty Peacock, to the leaves here, and I'm going to use a sponge dauber and my Pretty Peacock ink. So I'm just going to add a little bit of it. I don't know if you could see it in this card, but it's just on the edges, just to give it a little bit more dimension. So I'm just going to put this in and just do the edges, just to add a little bit of texture, dimension, whatever, interest. Lots of good words, good descriptions, right? And you could even come down further in if you want. I'm just really going to do the tips. So see the difference? Let me just show you. It just looks a little bit neater. So let's just do this one. And then I'll show you on the inside with the palm trees, we're going to add a little bit of Pretty Peacock to the stamp. And I'll show you how to do that. So stay tuned till the end. I love to just play around and try different things and see what happens. Okay, so I have these two. So these are the tops to the pineapple. I cut two of those. And we had the flower. I cut Pretty Peacock leaves. So I did two of each of these. So one, I did two of these and two of these. And then I did one of these with the old olive. So these are old olive. So I was trying to coordinate it and have it look like it's got a couple of different colors in it. So let's put our card together. Actually, one more thing. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I cut out two stitched shapes. So this is the largest, and then this is the second largest. So it's nice that you have these shapes that you can layer. And let's get our sentiment. So the sentiment is actually from this stamp set. May your birthday be memorable. So I really think this would be great for a guy. The colors and everything. Got a little fuzz on there. So let's just stamp this right here. And then let's stamp the inside as well. So on the inside, I have rest and relax, and then I have this palm tree. And I don't know if you could tell, but the green is a little bit two different colors, a little bit of two-tone there. So on the inside, we're going to do the rest and relax. Let's do it on this side. And I'm going to do that up a little bit so I have room for my palm tree. Okay, and let's just put that aside and get the palm tree. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to color it in Old Olive. This is a Stampin' Write marker, different than the Stampin' Blends. So this is a water-based marker. The round, thin ones, the kind of square, bulky ones are Stampin' Blends, and they are alcohol-based, and you don't want to color your stamps with them. It won't work, and you could dry out your stamps. So you want to just use the water-based ones. Okay, so I'm going to color the whole thing in Old Olive, and then I'll color the trunk in Soft Suede. Thought this was a good color for it. You could do any kind of brown, early espresso. Okay, and then I'm going to take my sponge dauber and my ink pad, and I'm just going to add a little ink around the edges so that the insides are the Old Olive. And then I want to make sure I kind of clean this off. I will wash it, but if you put it back in your ink pad, just want to get that green off the Old Olive so you don't mix them up. And then I'm going to just breathe on this to make sure it's nice and moist. And you'll see what happens. So we'll stamp it right here and see how there's the different colors. It's pretty cool. I really like the way that comes out. So play with your stamps and your inks and stuff and see what you come up with. So let's start putting it together. I'm going to use my liquid glue, and I'll put this on top of this is Pretty Peacock, the Pretty Peacock layer. And the card base is Pretty Peacock. So I'm kind of doing an Old Olive and a Pretty Peacock look. And then let's put this down. And it's good to use a strong adhesive when you're doing an embossed layer, just so that it gets all in the bumps and dents and things like that. Okay. And I think the white is really pretty. I've seen it in a lot of different colors, but I really like the white. It kind of pops off the page. So now I'm going to kind of lay things out and see where I want to put them to make sure I have the spacing and everything right. So we want to make sure the leaves stay inside the card so they don't bend off. So I think that looks good. So I'm going to just kind of piece it together as we go here. And I'm not putting glue on the whole thing. I'm just putting it toward the bottom so that the top is a little free-flowing. And let's do this one. And then we'll just add the other leaves and then the flower. Pretty easy to put together, and I think it's a nice look. So that looks good. Okay, and then let's put some of these leaves down, and again I'm just putting the glue toward the bottom. And this one's going to have the flower, so I don't want to have the leaves too low because I want them to stick up behind the flower. So we'll put one of those and then one of these. So let's see how we're looking here. Yeah, see, I want to pull this leaf up a little bit. And that's what's good with the liquid glue. You have a little opportunity to move it. Now the bottom doesn't have the flowers, so it won't be as critical. So let's get this down. We'll put this one and then this one. Come on. There we go. And then on this one, since we didn't have the flower, I added another leaf. And let's see, I just want to make sure I get the glue just a little bit here and there. Okay, and we'll put this one right on top of these. And don't worry if some of the glue sticks out, it does dry clear. All right, so let's put, that looks good. Let's put this down with some dimensionals. So I'll just put a few of these down. And these are great. They have double-sided stick and a little bit of height so that it gives you, jumps off the page a little bit, which is nice. And you just pull the backs off. Okay, so let's get this in just the right place. I think that looks good. Okay, and then on this one I'm going to put, let's see, I want to put a dimensional over here because it's going to be half on the label and half off, and then we'll put a little bit of glue. All right, I'm trying to work it around the, oh, I didn't take off the back. I'm trying to work it around the sentiment. Oh boy. I have the dropsies here. Okay, so it'll stick here, stick there. All right, what's left? Now we put the, these are the Noble Peacock rhinestones, and they are in pretty peacock, so that's perfect. So I'm going to put a big one right in the middle of this flower. Just makes a big difference. And then I'll take some small ones and just put them around the sentiment. Okay, and let's put this inside and we are done. So pretty cool. I love this set. I live in Florida, so tropical is my cup of tea. I'm on the East Coast, the Atlantic coast, and I'm not that far from the ocean. And there's palm trees everywhere, which is really cool. Okay, that's that one, and they're both the same. You could put whatever sentiment you want. You could change up the flower to make it more feminine, a different color, or whatever you want, but I think they came out really good. I love the way they stand up. And thanks for joining, and you guys take care. Bye.